These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording Thursday, October 12th. The Celtics played last night as we're recording this, in our pod on the subject dropped this morning. We also talked with Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports, so if you haven't checked it out, go check it out right now. But we're going to be talking about Dalano Banton, who got benched in the Celtics game against the 76ers the other night. I have the video now because I tweeted it out. It was easy for me to find that way. So we can take a look at what happened and how it went down. But here it is. Jared Weiss tweeted out, looked like Dalano Banton didn't dive for a loose ball at the first opportunity, and Joe Mazzulla pulled him one play into the second half so he could rip him a new one.
No
and
copyright in this bad boy.
Oh, there will absolutely be copyright. It is the NBA broadcast.
Well, it's your recording of the NBA broadcast.
Yeah, my illegal
You can share your
recording.
own video. You own this video.
That's not how copyright works at all. But as you can see, hold up. Let me we fucking talking through the video. As you can see, Dalano Banton is in place to dive for a loose ball against PJ Tucker. Does not get on the ground. Ends up kind of flopping over PJ Tucker's legs. I believe called a foul. I don't really know what got called here, or what played out. But Joe Mazzulla not too happy with Dalano Banton's decision. You'll see in a second. This is just one play into the fourth quarter, maybe third quarter. I forget.
No, second half.
Second half, yeah. Lamar Stevens comes in for Dalano Banton, and you can see Joe Mazzulla start yelling at him on the sidelines, getting mad at him for not diving and getting on the ground, presumably. And we have a quote from Joe after the game explaining it. This is thanks Jared Weiss for the transcriptions. Listen, there's nothing more important than holding people to a high standard, especially when you believe in them and know they can be really, really good. Everybody on the roster competes at a high level, and understanding that taking pride in defense is number one. He does a great job at getting deflections, rebounding, all this stuff. This was on Monday. I believe Adam Himmelsbach of the Globe tweeted out the full quote from Joe Mazzulla about Dalano Banton, and I just want the full context. Yeah, he said, listen, there's nothing more important than holding people to a high standard, especially when you believe in them and know they can be really, really good. And we have a roster of 1 through 17 that I truly believe in, and there's just a good learning opportunity. There was a loose ball there, and I thought he could have gotten it. So credit to him that he was able to take the coaching, and he responded really, really well. He's got a chance to be a really good player in this league, and I just loved the mentality that he brought to being coached and then responding. It's super important. I'm thankful that he allowed me to coach him. So that was the fallout of the situation, and I think it was I mean, I'm with it. I'm with new defense-minded Joe and these sort of things.
Yeah, me too. Except it's kind of weird to be like, hey, risk injury in the preseason. Not only for you, but for others. Like, that was a very crowded play. There were a lot of legs that could have been dove into, perhaps knees that could have been injured. Yeah. Not necessarily the mentality I would have in the preseason, but here Jack and I sit doing a podcast.
That's why we're on the sidelines.
Yeah.
It's also why.
But it is kind of funny. I'm glad that there's no like lasting beef, because I think Banton's an interesting prospect. I'm not sure how much use he's going to actually be able to get with the Celtics, because we haven't seen him do much off the ball. When he's played in the preseason, he's been a lot of on-ball, pick and roll, ball handler. And to his credit, he's looked pretty good, and that's a good sign for him as we head into the season. Maybe he can pick up some spot minutes when people are out, or if they need somebody to fill that role. But you would imagine it would just go to Tatum or Drew Holiday or Jaylen Brown or Derek White, one of the many ball handlers on the roster. He's probably 5th or 6th in the power rankings of ball handlers. And not diving on the floor is not helping him.
Clearly not. Clearly Joe Mazzulla was against that. I've liked Banton too. I think he's been solid. He runs the pick and roll well, like you mentioned. He's a good ball handler. Defensively, he's fun to watch. He is long and he's athletic, like Joe Mazzulla said. But yeah, I mean, you said he's just not doing anything with the ball in his hands, and he's not going to have the ball in his hands if he does get an opportunity to play with the stars, which he did briefly the other night. He played with the lineup of Derek White, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, and in that limited time, he turned the ball over a couple times and didn't get back on defense, or wasn't in the right spot on defense. He's just looking inconsistent. Nick Nurse, when he came to Boston with Philly, said that Banton's had a potential, but effectively just said, but he hasn't been able to do it consistently, and that's kind of what we've seen so far in the preseason. But as far as Joe Mazzulla, we've said it multiple times. He said it on the JJ Redick podcast. He said, I just thought everyone should know how to play defense, and I didn't have to coach it. And clearly, that is not the mentality anymore. Clearly, Joe Mazzulla is like, all right, you guys want to, play some defense. I'll tell you how to fucking play defense. And this might have been the first look at that. Yeah, this might be the first look at that.
Yeah, it's funny because Banton is essentially like if you're playing 2K and you make a my player to be like a demigod, he's a tall ball handler, but it's like before you start playing the my career and he's very raw still. So he's got work to do. The 3-point shot is not there for him to play off the ball. For his career, only 27.5% from three, not very good. Even for a longer athletic type player, his field goal percentage is pretty low, only 41% for his career. Those are numbers that are going to have to go up. If you're getting to the rim as a pick and roll ball handler, you have to be able to convert more consistently. For example, we saw it with Tatum years ago when he wasn't really finishing around the cup that well. And it was really frustrating for us to watch. And that's one of the reasons why he got stronger and he became a more consistent finisher. It's helped him rise up to being, sixth on ESPN's rankings? Whether you agree or disagree, maybe he should be higher, maybe shouldn't be. That's another thing to keep your eyes out for. But it is funny that Joe is just completely 180'd. Even though last year, I'm not sure Banton is earning his respect either. Can't shoot the three. Joe likes the threes. Now he can't. He's not diving on the floor. Isn't playing a lot of defense. Doesn't earn his respect there either. I'm not really sure how much I expect out of Banton throughout the season, though. Out of the prospects, he's just like a strange fit. There's not a lot of room for him to thrive.
New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube at YouTube TV.
Yeah, I think he fits on the roster as a last chance. That's not the right word. Last ditch effort ball handler. Like, he's your last resort. If Pritchard is out, if Derek or Drew is out, you might see some Banton because you do need that extra ball handling, right? Like, that is the place where Banton could be there because you could throw him in over an O'Shea Brissett, over a Lamar Stevens, over a wing because he'll give you defense and ball handling, something that maybe those other guys won't give you. But fully healthy, he's just not going to get minutes in the regular season. Definitely not in the playoffs, right? Like, you could see O'Shea Brissett getting thrown in there in the playoffs if you need some extra athleticism. You could see Lamar Stevens getting him thrown in there for some extra defense and rebounding. You could see, Peyton Pritchard, obviously, Sam Hauser, obviously, Cornette, obviously. They're going to be part of the regular season rotation, so they could get thrown in there for some playoff minutes. It just doesn't seem like there's a pathway for that with Banton. And not diving for the ball is clearly not going to put you in the good graces of Joe Mazzulla, as we saw the other night.
Yeah, it's funny. Some of those other names you mentioned, like, really could impact a playoff series. Like, I could see Lamar Stevens legit being a change of series type of player, just in terms of the energy and intensity he might bring off the bench. That could shift a series, help throw the other team off their game, whatever. Same with O'Shea Brissett. He brings it defensively, too. If he can find his three-point shot, he's really going to be an important player for the Celtics. Banton doesn't have anything that you're like, damn, if he did that, like, really well, that one thing, then he could just get himself in the game. It just doesn't feel like that. Pritchard has played too well in this preseason for us to be like, where does Banton get minutes as a ball handler? It just doesn't make sense. Pritchard can be a ball handler. He can be off the ball because he's such a great catch and shoot player. Banton just doesn't have that. He doesn't necessarily fit next to these guys, but I do think for his sake as a pro, it's good for him to be with somebody similar skill sets in terms of being able to handle the ball. He can learn from him. Learn how to become a playmaker. Learn how to handle the ball in the pick and roll and finish around the rim like we talked about earlier. Those are the important things that he can use to grow. And to Mazzulla's point, he truly does believe Banton can be a good player in the league. He has the right mentors around him to try and help him learn. Adding somebody like Drew Holiday just furthers that as an all-star in the past and somebody that plays defense two ways and seems to be able to fit into a plethora of roles, whether it's a really high roster. It's a good place for him to be.
Yeah, I agree. It's good for his development. And side note, like I said, I'm all in on year 2 Joe Mazzulla. He's different, dude. He's just not the same person, which is very nice to see him open up and be willing to talk about stuff. Like, you wouldn't have gotten this answer out of them. You know what you would have gotten after last year? You said, I told him I love him. That's what you would have gotten from Joe Mazzulla. But he's much more open with what he's been saying, which is nice. So Let us know what you guys think about the Banton situation. Let us know what you think about Joe and Delano and all the stuff we talked
What
about.
do you
Make sure to
expect from him this year?
Yeah. Well, what's his role? How many minutes? Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you. Check out our latest pod with Jake Fisher. Spotify, Apple, all the good stuff, and playback. I just scheduled the new playback for next Thursday, so there's a new like thumbnail there. You can see it'll say like, "Oh, the
We're
Hornets
no
game," you
longer
can tell.
asking.
Yeah. But thank y'all for watching, and I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Hey, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate it. These are the gap filler videos between podcasts. We put them up every single day. Get you a little bit of extra Celtics content to get you through the week. You can subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our uploads. You can also find us on Apple and Spotify. People like to listen there if they just want the audio platforms. Follow us, leave a like, 5-star review. You can also find the socials at How About Them C's. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. You can find us on Facebook Live before every game a half hour. Same as YouTube. Always doing the pre-games. You can find Jack on Twitter at JackSmonNBA. You can find me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.